This is a short video on how to use a skill saw. What you're going to see here is a stack of plywood on a set of sawhorses, and underneath the top sheet, the piece that I'm working with, you're going to see 2x4 blocks or pieces of 1x, whatever you have, and you place it underneath the material that you're working on. Now I'm going to try to narrate this as I'm pointing to what I'm doing, so bear with me. That's the cut line that I'm going to make, and that's the piece I'm working on. Those are the boards that you put underneath, and what that does is allows you to cut without wood falling off the edge of a sawhorse or the edge of the table. I see a lot of people trying to cut wood with it hanging off the edge, and it falls to the floor, falls on your foot, it tears apart, and you end up getting a crappy cut. So you see those two blocks there, those are both underneath the piece that I'm going to keep. To the left of that is another block, which is the piece that I'm not using yet, and it's got blocks under it depending on how long that board is, so that you get a nice level square cut. Whatever you're blocking this with, use the same size blocks. Now it's set up. I'm going to clamp it down a little tighter. You don't want the piece to move when you're cutting it. You want it to stay still. Now another thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using that square. So what you do is you line up the saw blade precisely where you want to make the cut. Then you take that square and you slide it up against the frame of the skill saw. So in this example, I'm going to keep the line, so the blade is going to be lined up to the left of the pencil mark. And that's the frame of the saw. So I'm going to line that up and line up the square. You'll see it in a minute. Then when you're going to finish the pass, you stop and you flip the square to the other side, reline it up with your frame of the skill saw, and finish your cut. And that's it. It's a simple, easy way to do things and not have pieces of wood flying all over the place. Depending on the length of the cut, you can use a straight edge piece of wood rather than the square. What I do is I drill clearance holes through the wood, and then I actually screw it into the piece of wood that I'm using. And that works really well too when you're pushing a skill saw, because you have to accommodate for the motor that sticks out from the left. So now I'm going to go ahead and set the camera up and make the cut. And you're going to get a nice image of the right way to cut plywood or any other material with a skill saw. You put your ear protection on, you line up that blade, that takes practice getting it set up so that when you are ready to cut, it's lined up properly. Then you go ahead and start. You make a little test cut. Then you go ahead and start your cut, push it through. The important thing to remember is the depth of the blade. That's adjustable on this particular skill saw. You saw me flip over the square. Now I cut through, stop. Now if you notice, the cut's done. I'm not trying to hold the piece of wood up on the edge of the table. It just sits there on those two blocks. And you get a nice square cut. No wood gets torn apart when it's hanging off the table. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed this short video. Take the scrap piece out of there. Save that for a straight edge later for some other project. And this piece is done. ready to go on to the next piece. Nice and easy. Thanks for watching.